Hello everyone, I'm going to go over levels 68 to 90 for the Witch Occultist with zombies and 3 curses. Where I left off in the first video was at Cloth and Chain. So after Cloth and Chain, you're going to go to Call to Arms. Then you're going to go to the Natural Authority. Then Warcry Mastery with a minimum of 10 power. After that, you're going to swing up and you're going to take Intuitive Leap in charisma and grab the other mana reservation efficiency node. And then it's going to be evasion mastery, and then you're going to take heart and soul. So when you take this ability right here, Warcry Mastery, it allows for you to stack endurance charges without hitting creatures with your Warcry, specifically Enduring Cry. And what that does is it increases your physical damage reduction and your elemental resists. Very helpful. And then this is self-explanatory. You're trying to increase the amount of auras that you have to do more damage and more survivability. And then this heart and soul should finish it off. I'm not sure if these little guys were in the first video, but if they're not, just fill them in. This could change as well if you have better gear. So always look at your path of building to see what's better and what's not. And I'd like to add into this right here is for defensive purposes. Now, if your gear was really, really good and your survivability was okay, you might not want to have these abilities right here. You might not want to have Call to Arms and the Warcry Mastery. You'd go up here and take corruption with the cast mastery with increased effect of withered. So if your gear is good, and you feel comfortable with the way you're killing creatures and bosses, go for corruption. If you're not, you feel not safe and you don't know if you're doing enough damage, then take Call Arms and get the Warcry Mastery. If you want to see what to do after Heart and Soul, then look at my part 3 guide, and they'll be in the description below, as well as the path of building for this build as well, for this video. I'm going to go over the skills. Now, I have all these skills right here for the raised zombies, but, always make sure that you have the right gems. So you could probably get away with using what I have, but it's always a good idea to check your main DPS gems to make sure you're getting full damage or the best damage that you can. Then I have Punishment on ring 2, and then I have Temporal Chains on ring 1. I'll explain why I did this later on in the video. Then I have Skitterbot for the curses. Then I have Enduring Cry for the buff, like I went over already. Despair for more damage. This makes it an AoE that hits everything in your path. Then there's Molten Shell for survivability, Flesh Offering for DPS, Withering Step for DPS. These are purity of elements. It's very important, and you need to have that up all the time. It helps with resists and makes you immune to all elemental ailments. This helps a lot because we cannot heal ourselves because of the belt that I use and maybe you're going to use. Enlighten is only level 3. It was very cheap. It did not cost that much. Grace and Haste auras. Then you have Animated Guardian for buff and more health for your minions. Freedom Frenzy buff. The grip for your minions. Raise Spectres. And you're going to be using Chieftains again. So let's jump into items. I used a Dream because I thought it would be easy to get for most people. And in the 60% chance to poison enemies on hit goes a long way with Despair and Temporal Chains. I think it's a good overall item until you can actually get the cane. Then the shield is good, a lot of good stats, +1 to minion. You should be able to get a good shield because they're a dime a dozen. There's tons of them being sold, so you should be able to find a good one. The helmet is another decent item. I used my fire resist to increase my fire resist, of course, but typically you'd want to have +1 to zombies on your helmet enchant to increase your DPS. The simple robe, obvious, you want to have a 6 link, and with all white sockets, it's pretty useful. Command of the pit, you want to make sure that you have two ghastly eye jewels that have chance to poison. It could be 10 to 15%, I believe. So it doesn't really matter. Just make sure. Oh, look at that! I got the wrong one on. Well, don't do what I did, and make sure that you have a. Actually, I'm sorry. It doesn't really matter at the moment because I don't have the gaze on right now. So all you need is two ghastly eye jewels for. Oh my god! I tore that apart. Just don't even listen to me. Just get chance to poison for both ghastly eye jewels. Then you got wind shriek. This costs a lot of currency for me when I got it, but I don't think it'll be that much when you. Mine's pretty good. I couldn't really find anyone to sell me one, so I had to buy like an expensive one. But I'm pretty sure that you could probably get a cheap one in the next expansion. Now the necklace is to make sure that you have no reservation when using despair as an aura. So that's really important. I need something to drink. Just give me a second here. All right, that's better. All right, now profane proxy in both ring slots. I did this because to get 3 curses without like gimping myself or making myself weak and not being able to use the despair necklace with the punishment or temporal chains attached to it that drops off the elder and the shaper. I used 2 profane proxy rings to make up for that disadvantage. My favorite belt, of course. Then I have the onslaught flask, elemental resist flask, poison flask, sin's rebirth, and then the last one. Then I have the Conqueror's efficiency that helps with mana reservation efficiency, and I went over intuitive leap. Now jump into configurations. I do this all the time. I don't know why, but I'll just do it again. But endurance charges from Enduring Cry, the War Cry power from the Mastery, frenzy charges from the Chieftains, Unholy Might from the Mastery, elusiveness from Withering Stacks, feeding frenzy from your Spectres. It's a buff, it's a gem. And then you have low life because of punishment. If you want to see how much damage you do without this, because this does a lot of damage. So when you take it off, it practically drops to half. So make sure that you pay attention to that. And if you don't want to like use this and you want to do more steady DPS, then make sure that you adjust for it in your path of building with your raised zombies, gems. Withering stacks is 8. So that's it. That's pretty much it. I had like some difficulty trying to get this done. It was pretty hard to find a reliable build to actually go through the game. So like when you're doing like the instances or the maps, I should call them. I was able to do up to tier 15 and 16, but the bosses took a while to kill. So if you have better gear, it'll probably be a lot smoother. Just take it slow. Don't try to rush it. Try to fill out your atlas and take it easy, and you should be okay with this build. And as always, be safe and be careful, and have a nice day.